guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a wooden decor flower. But before I get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give me a big thumbs up. Now, let's do this! Okay, so first, we are going to start with the pot holding the flower. So what you're going to do is mark 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches so that it's a perfect square. And then you're going to use this wood to mark it and then cut. Now, with the power of editing. Okay, now that we have this base, now all we have to do is make some walls to the pot. Now what you're wanting to do with your piece of wood, measure your walls of your pot to be 4 inches and 5/12. 4 and 5/12 of inches. And you're going to have to do that for all 4 sides. Now, with the power of editing, one thing I forgot to mention. Hi! Can you be quiet for a second? Is to make the top of your walls of the pot by 3.5 inches, just like this base that we just made. Now, with the power of editing, actually, when you make the first 2, make them exactly how I told you to. But when you make the second 2, this is how I'm describing it. Make your wood like a rectangle, and the length between the top and bottom, make that 3 inches exact. Then your pot walls will perfectly fit with the base. Now, with the power of editing! Okay, so now that we have all of these pot pieces, they actually kind of look like books if you put them like that. If you want them to be books, then just build a bookshelf. Anyways, that's another project, maybe, that you can do with this video. Now, what you want to do, if you don't want to build a bookshelf, is glue all of these together inside of a pot formation. If you want to, you could also cut out a rim to these walls. I personally am not going to do that. Anyways, time to get glue in. Now, with the power of editing. Okay, so now that we have the pot, and if you don't want to do the flower part, then you can just make it into like a cup, decorative cup, and then just decorate it with paint. Now, it's time for the flower. First thing you're gonna need to do is find a thin piece of wood. Meanwhile, I'm just going to cut a strip. A strip of wood that can fit inside of this pot. Now, with the power of editing. Okay, now that we got this, it's time to get to work on some leaves. You're going to need a thick piece of wood, thicker than the wood that you have right now, or less thick than the wood that you have right now for the leaves. Is cut a rectangle through the thicker wood. And then after you do that, get the less thick wood, and then cut a rectangle out of that. Now, with the power of editing. Okay, now we have these 4 technically. Now we're going to work on the top very most part of the stem, which is the actual flower and its petals. Now what you're going to do is get a square piece of wood for the middle of the top part. cut it into a square. Now, with the power of editing. Okay, so now that we have that, now what you're going to need to do is make 8 petals. They're all going to be rectangles, by the way. Now, with the power of editing, it's your decision to do 8 or 4. If you want to do 8, then cut the corners on the cube. Now, with the power of editing. Okay, now that we have all of the petals, now what you're going to do is glue them to the flower, and then once you're done with that and it's all dried, glue it to the stem, and then glue that. And while you're waiting for it to dry, glue the leaves onto the stem, and then when you're done with that, glue it onto the pot. This is the biggest step of them all. I believe in you. Now, with the power of editing, I almost forgot to mention, once you are done with the full flower, then what you're going to want to do is decorate. You can decorate with anything you want that will make a mark on wood. Now, get the decorating done, wait for it to dry first, and then glue it onto the pot. Now, with the power of editing. Okay, there we go. Now that I have it done, you can also decorate, but I'm running out of time, so we're going to not do that part yet. Now, thank you guys so much for watching. That was the project. Make sure you hit that notification bell, subscribe, and like. Bye!